Billionaire Stanley Druckenmiller giving a clue about where he views the hottest AI stocks. Duquesne Family Office's 13F filing shows that the fund jettisoned its positions in both NVIDIA and Palantir. Druckenmiller owned nearly 770,000 Palantir shares, but sold all of them between July 2024 and March 2025. Now, while the stock is up almost 600% in the last 5 years, Palantir currently has a nosebleed price-to-sales ratio of 126. And only 2% of its shares outstanding are shorted. In a Fox Business exclusive, I'm really pleased to say that we have Citron Research founder Andrew Laft, who is among the tiny ilk betting that Palantir will fall. All right, Andrew, make your case to me.
Oh, what does Stanley Druckenmiller know? Come on.
Yeah, you know it better. Go.
Joke, obviously. Meaning he sold his shares. You know, he's one of the greatest investors of all time. Palantir is a wonderful company. It's a great company, but everything does have a price to it. And as you showed it right there, we see what is the cost for disruption. So we see with the NVIDIA Grok 40 times sales. We'll see more with Databricks. We see more with ChatGPT. But where Palantir is priced right now, especially with the movements going on, their foundry is not guaranteed. They have a lot of competition in that space. They're a great company. I love Alex Karp. Yep. He's a wonderful CEO. He's done so great by his shareholders. He's done an amazing job to see where this company has gone, the trajectory of it from IPO to down the initial skepticism to where it is right now. And that growth is built on not only the quality product that Palantir delivers, but on the enthusiasm that Karp brings to Wall Street. But will that enthusiasm phase out in 2026? I say it does. And if it goes back to, if they go to 40 times sales, which is, where we see these deals are done right now, the Databricks, the ChatGPT, this is, the stock's more than cut in half. Doesn't mean it's not a great company.
So, yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you. At 189 a share right now and a short position, what is the price where then Palantir is attractive? Is it that 40 times sales that you just mentioned?
No. I mean, I hate to say it, I think it's going to be lower than that. They're going to hit the law of large numbers very soon. And as much as big data is great, big data has its limitations. Not every company needs to analyze these huge sets of data that only they're going to have. Not to mention, they will see competition going into those spaces. So it's not a fair thing to say now where it's going to be, what's the fair multiple for it? We have to look at the growth rate in 2027, 2028. But I look at the bulls right now on this who think it's just going to completely grow on an infinite scale for the next 8 years. It seems like they completely have no idea about how economies work, how cycles of technology work. And that's the main part.
I want to stick with technology and go to AppLovin. Andrew, honestly, I think it was exactly like a year ago today when we were talking about some of the hottest stocks in the last few years, and AppLovin was #1 on that. It had a killer run last year, and it's been just through the roof. When you take a look at a 5-year chart, it is astounding. What do you see for AppLovin? Is that a short position for you as well?
I am short AppLovin right now, but it's a different animal than Palantir. Okay. I don't trust AppLovin. I have to say, they're about to go and hit the monoliths of Google and Meta and go against those apex predators. And I don't believe somehow, if you look at the gross margins that they're turning out, their cost of acquisition per customer, how they're completely outdoing them. Whether, they right now are under investigation for privacy issues with the SEC. And people are looking at, how they're acquiring the users. Are they somehow gaming the Apple system? I wouldn't doubt it. It's been questioned before, and I wouldn't. These are too good to be true numbers coming out of them. I do not believe you're going to be completely on an ad platform, outdo and keep those efficiencies higher against Google and against Meta. So I think AppLovin, its best days are in the rearview mirror. And if you have to look at numbers that are that good, with skepticism.
Interesting. So talk to me about Rigetti as well, because, when I started in this business, we talked about pre-earnings companies, and now we're talking about pre-revenue companies, where there are massive valuations on companies that are pre-earnings and pre-revenue. How do you view this quantum stock?
So now we're just going down the scale. Palantir is a great company, overvalued. AppLovin I have skepticism about, but nonetheless is delivering strong earnings. And now you have Rigetti, which is the bottom of the barrel. Rigetti there's nothing there. It's a science project. It's a $7 billion science project. The stock was, I think, like 90 cents 2 years ago. They haven't made anything since then. They haven't really progressed their technology. They were not accepted for the phase 2 of DARPA whatsoever. It's just been a completely retail. People want to say, what's the new AI? They say quantum. There's a lot of money flushing around the system. And Rigetti just seems to be a name that's caught on. There is nothing there. I personally, I'm short Rigetti, but I'm long Inflection, which is I'm long another quantum stock. Actually, see right there, I'm short Rigetti, not IonQ, and I'm short also D-Wave Quantum.
Yeah.
They're all, and I'm long Inflection. Those are all just overhyped stocks. So they're not Palantirs or they're not AppLovins.
30
that
seconds.
That is complete hype cycle.
Software as a service, you want to talk about it. What do you like about it or not like about it?
Well, not talk about it. But people discuss, when you're looking at trends, I can hear, are we in an AI bubble? These were great companies. We have companies like I'm looking right there, Salesforce and Workday, that were awesome companies who right now face a big problem. We're going to have a lot less employees. So paying per seat is a business model. And you see it in the stock prices right now, that their CEOs have to pivot. It is a zombie business model from AI.
Andrew, this was a pleasure. So appreciate getting you on. Can't wait to get you on again and go through this in a little bit more detailed analysis. Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
You too.